to the webinar. Deepak Bami sir, welcome.
Yeah, hi, thank you.
I hope you're doing good, sir.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. I hope the same with you. Hi.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sir.
Hi Deepak, how are you?
Hi, Ajay. I'm good. How are you?
All well,
Thanks.
yeah. So, Ayushi, we can just transfer screen sharing to Deepak and see if it works from his laptop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, Deepak sir, you'll be given the sharing rights.
Okay.
So please try whether you can share your screen and presentation.
Mm-hmm. G- Probably you need to give me again the sharing alert. Yeah, I do have now. Can you see my screen? Can you confirm once?
Not yet?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, now yes.
Okay.
And you can go to screenshot mode. Yeah, this is good. Perfect. Yeah, Ayushi, you can have it back now. And
I hope it is moving to the next slide.
Yes, it is moving, sir. Smooth.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you can take it back if you want the permissions.
So you keep the sharing rights. All I need to give the information, start information to the audience.
Okay.
Thank you. A very pleasant evening to all the panelists and participants connected with us. It is a pleasure to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic Technology Trends and Revolution in Mobile. Our expert for today's session is Mr. Deepak Bami, sir. Sir has already joined us. We'll be starting soon, dear participants. Dear participants, it is to inform you that the recorded video of this session shall be made available on our BVI Camp YouTube channel at the earliest possible by the end of this session. The details of our YouTube channel will be shared on the chat window. Further, I request you to please find the details from the chat window and subscribe the same for regular updates. Dear participants, kindly ensure that whatever device you are connected with for today's webinar, please ensure that you can access the chat window. You may find the chat window on the right hand side of the screen as chat is a mechanism to which we all will be communicating during this webinar. So any questions you will be having, you can write us on the chat window. I shall be facilitating the same by asking those questions, but at the end of this session. Dear participants, I also request you that we will be sharing a feedback form link during the webinar on the chat window for the smooth automated generation of your certificate of participation for today's session. Kindly stay connected with us till the last of this session and own yourself a certificate of participation despite increasing your knowledge. Dear participants, to ensure that you have found the chat window, you may write us your name, area of expertise on the chat window itself. That will help you to ensure that you can access the chat window also for better networking. A very pleasant evening to all the panelists and participants connected with us. It is a pleasure to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic Technology Trends and Revolution in Mobile. Our expert for today's session is Mr. Deepak Bami sir. Sir has already joined us. We'll be beginning soon, dear participants. Dear participants, I request you again to please ensure that whatever device you are connected with for today's session, and you can access the chat window. Dear participants, you may find the chat window on the right hand side of your screen. Please ensure that you can access the chat window. You can ensure the same by writing us your name and area of expertise for better networking also, dear participants. Chat window is an important mechanism through which we will be communicating for today's webinar. So any questions you will be having, you can write us on the chat window. I shall be facilitating those questions, but at the end of this session, dear participants. Dear participants, we will be sharing a feedback form link. You have to tap on the link, fill in the feedback form for the smooth automated generation of your certificate of participation. Dear participants, we will be sharing this link during or by the end of this webinar. So please stay connected with us till the last of this session for the smooth generation of your certificate of participation. Good evening, Subrato sir. I welcome you for today's webinar.
Good evening, Good evening.
Good evening to everybody, whoever
Good
present.
evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Professor Subrata.
Good evening. I'm joining from Munich, Germany.
Oh,
Wow.
very good.
Very good.
It's 2:30 almost now here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subrata sir.
Namaskar ji.
So namaskar and good evening from India and good morning to you at Germany.
नहीं, good noon, afternoon ही है.
Afternoon,
Good afternoon. Chaliye. So when did you reach Germany?
Yesterday morning,
Oh, great. So finally you are at Germany. You have
at
been
5:37
the
I
last 2-3
landed,
weeks.
and by 11:37 I got the good news of my grandson coming to the
Oh.
world.
Very good.
Congrats, sir.
So
Congratulations.
great.
Thank you all.
Right. And Ajay ji.
Germany में
Namaskar.
Ajay ji, good evening.
Namaskar ji, Huda Saab.
Namaskar. Bhatia sahab.
Good evening. Good evening.
நான் ரொம்ப டயர்டா வரீங்க இல்ல நாம இது மீட்டிங் ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கு 7 மணிக்கு தான் முடியும்
Deepak sir, I hope you are connected with us.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I'm here.
Mr. Deepak, good evening to you and welcome to IEEE IIT BBICAM webinar series.
Good evening. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Ayushi, we can start.
Okay. Sir.
आयुषी आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही.
A pleasant evening to all the distinguished sir.
आ रही है, अब आ रही.
Okay. A very pleasant evening to all the distinguished panelists and participants. Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management BVI CAM in association with Computational Intelligence Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Computer Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Technology and Engineering Management Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, System Man and Cybernetics Society of IEEE Delhi section, Consultants Network Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi section, Life Member Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi Section, Inter-Society Relations Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi Section, Industry Relations and Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology, Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi Section, with the associations Computer Society of India, Institute of Information Technology Professionals, IITP, ISTE Delhi Section, and IETE Delhi Center as technical collaborator welcomes you all to the webinar on the topic Technology Trends and Revolution in Mobile. It is a moment of pride and honor to announce that we, with united hands, mark special contribution for the occasion Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, an initiative to celebrate 75 years of glorious independence by organizing the thought-provoking sessions for the better future. This webinar is an initiative for the celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The mobile device has become our communications hub, our diary, our entertainment portal, our primary source of media consumption, our wallet, and our gateway to real-time information tailored to our needs. The revolution is now. In today's era, mobile apps are frequently used and installed in every hook and corner of the phone. In order to make it reachable, it has become imperative to go mobile and have an app for promoting, selling, and interacting with their customers. But all app stores these days are flooded with billions of apps for users to download and use. It is absolutely necessary for engineering leaders, teams, and developers to use a cutting edge tech and instrument to develop the next hit app or to forever disappear to oblivion. The webinar will discuss on mobile technologies with its revolution and how the engineers in the market are adapting with the new available frameworks. The webinar will also discuss its all around perspective, including the real time issues and challenges. I would first take this opportunity to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for the day. We are privileged to have amongst us a galaxy of experts. I welcome Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay, Sir, Chairperson, Consultants Network Affinity Group, and former Chairperson, Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay, Sir, to commence this session with his welcome address. Please, Sir.
Thank you, Ayushi and others. Glad that I'm here to meet you all. And also the topic is very lively and something very important, though it has reached most of the common man and the last man in the society too. So technology, trends and revolution in mobile, while we are moving and everywhere roaming, we are in a position to access whatever we need, any part of the world. Of course, now I am using a laptop, not the mobile, because communication is also very nice. Absolutely. There is no difficulty in it. What we'll expect, because over the years, we have seen the trends going from 1G to 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and we have seen the benefits that have reached the mankind actually in every aspect. Already IUC has talked about a lot of apps getting downloaded, making the life easy, not only just communication and accessibility to these things, and even whatever we demand, we get the supply also. And definitely, Mr. Deepak Kumar will be revisiting all these things, but in addition, whatever the issues, challenges are there, I mean, like hacking and other things, whatever the cyber attacks, definitely will be dealing. Of course, in addition, we'll be expecting something on the future trends more specifically, so that people get accustomed with these things, what is going to come, and think of further something more, whether it can be added or even in the R&D field also what they can contribute. With this, I'm making it over to Ayushi back.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor M.N. Huda, Sir, Director, Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management, BVI CAM, and Vice Chairperson, IEEE Delhi Section, to address the participants with his inspiring words. Please, sir.
Good evening, one and all. Outset, let me welcome and pay my gratitude to today's valued speaker, Mr. Deepak Bami. I'm thankful to you for having accepted my request and being with all of us to share your experience and make us to know that what are the latest trends in the field of mobile technologies, particularly with respect to the data and the kind of the services associated with it. I also take this opportunity to welcome all my friends from various collaborating professional societies, IEEE, IET, CSI, IITP, and others. And most importantly, participants from all over the country and abroad, including Professor Subrata Mukhopadhyay, who is joining us from Germany, and few more participants from Middle East. So thank you so much for having joined us for this 72nd 72वां हम 75वीं आजादी की 75वीं सालगिरह मना रहे हैं और ये हमारा 72वां वेबिनार है 72nd. So after 3 weeks we will be matching on 75th anniversary of the independence with 75th webinar. So this is 72nd webinar on such innovative topic which is so touchy, which is so important, which is so common to everyone, and probably if we see last 20 years, the kind of the revolution, the kind of the transformation which has happened in the mobile technology has touched every common man on this earth. And that's how almost everyone is carrying one mobile. And there are people who carries 2 mobiles and maybe more than 2 numbers. Huh? So one mobile has got many numbers now, many SIMs. So 2, 3 numbers and 2 handsets. That's the kind of the trend which has come up. So that's how I keep on saying that change is the way of life. When we came out of our native places from villages to study in mid-80s in university at Aligarh Muslim University, I remember those days, in order to talk to our parents, they used to go to some place where they can, we were not having telephone connection at our home initially in the village. So they used to go to some common place where they used to keep waiting after 11 p.m. in the night because the telephone charges used to be 1/4. And then we from hostel as a student, 4 or 5 students used to go from our hostel to some PCO booth and keep on waiting for that time that after 11, the charges will be 1/4 and then it can be affordable. And then when the moment it was 11 p.m. in the night and we start dialing the number, so the message used to come, all lines dialed by you are busy, kindly try after some time. From that arena, maybe around 35 years ago, now we have come to a stage where entire world is in our palm. We have one mobile, one number, and that number can connect us to anyone and everyone in entire world. And that's how I keep on saying that the change is the way of life. Change is inevitable. इंसान घर बदलता है, लिबास बदलता है, रिश्ते बदलता है, दोस्त बदलता है, फिर भी परेशान क्यों रहता है? क्योंकि हम अपने आप को नहीं बदलते. And that's how गालिब said that उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी और मैं आईना साफ करता रहा. मुझे याद है तकरीबन 15 साल पहले मैंने अपने फादर को बताया था कि ये लैंडलाइन अब डिस्कनेक्ट कर दीजिए और आपके लिए मैं मोबाइल ला देता हूँ. And at that time he didn't accept my idea because he was not ready to accept this change. But 5 years ago, he said that now I can't deal with those landline, give me a mobile. And then finally I gave him a mobile. And a year ago, I made him to learn that how to operate the smartphone. At least you can make voice calls, video calls, as well as check WhatsApp. That's the kind of the change which has come up in the society. And the huge changes are awaited on the card. And the mobile technology in the way in which it has transformed itself in last almost 2 decades, there are phenomenal growth. There is no comparison. And maybe around a decade ago, I used to say that there is one technology, telephonic technology, which from wire became wireless. Now even the mobile is wireless. And on the other hand, the television, which was earlier the wireless using antenna, 2 channels, maybe DD1 and DD2, became wired with the help of cable TV. And now again from wired, now it is a partially wired, partially wireless with the help of the set-top boxes. So all these changes have started coming. And if you tell any of the old age people that now voice is almost free in today's technology. Voice is almost free. There is no cost of the voice. What we are paying to the service provider or the operators are paying for the data. And once you purchase the data, maybe for 1 month, maybe 28 days or whatever for entire year, your voice is free. And probably in coming days, even the data and the voice both will be free. And for something else will be maybe for app or for value added services only, we will be making payment. That's the kind of the change which is happening. And today for this purpose, I have Mr. Deepak here to enlighten all of us that what and in which way the technology is going to change. And probably those days are not away that from feature phone, now we have changed to a smartphone, and we may not need to carry this kind of a smartphone maybe a decade down the line. Just maybe a wearable strip or a button may be sufficient with the help of the reflexive computing. And we just think that I need to connect to Mr. Ajay Goel, I need to connect to Subrata sir, I need to connect to Deepak, and the connection will be established. That kind of reflexive computing with the help of the cognitivity or with the help of the cognitive sciences, which are awaited in this particular domain. But I'm yet to see that domain, which maybe around 30 years ago, Nida Fazli said, say for example, I'm in one town and my very near and dear in some another town, and my near and dear has got some problem at his place. So internally, I keep on getting that affection, being away maybe 2,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers, that my some or near and dear has got some problem. And Nida Fazli simulated it that बच्चे को परदेश में तकलीफ हुई, भीगा घर पे माँ का प्यार. बच्चे को परदेश में तकलीफ हुई, भीगा घर पे माँ का प्यार. कि एक बच्चा हॉस्टल में पढ़ता था, उसे तकलीफ हो गई तो माँ घबराहट में परेशान है और ये सोचने की कोशिश कर रही है कि लेटर लिखूं, खत लिखूं, मोबाइल पे फोन पे बात कर लूं, कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम है मेरे बच्चे को. तो भीगा, बच्चे को परदेश में तकलीफ हुई, भीगा घर पे माँ का प्यार, दिल ने दिल से बात की, बिन लेटर बिन चिट्ठी बिन तार. ये निदा फाजली का दोहा है. तो मैं वो दिन देखना चाहता हूं कि हम मोबाइल टेक्नोलॉजी में इमेजिन करें कॉग्निटिव और रिफ्लेक्सिव कंप्यूटिंग से, और वो टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल हो विद टेलीपैथी. दैट प्रोबेबली डेज आर गोइंग टू कम विद द हेल्प ऑफ द 5th generation computing which is on the card. So thank you so much to all the participants from different parts of the country and abroad, and we look forward a very fruitful session today, and particularly on such a technology which has touched everyone. No other technology, including the computer, has touched to that level to which the mobile computing has touched to everyone. And anything which we wanted to take to the masses, we designed that how to deliver it through mobile. If we can deliver this information or this service through mobile, probably everyone can avail that service. That's the beauty of mobile technology. Let's learn that how and in which best possible way the mobile technologies are going to embrace all of us. Thank you so much. Over to you, Yushi. Over to you, Ayushi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inspiring us. I would now welcome amongst us our expert speaker, Mr. Deepak Bami, sir, with an e-bouquet. Welcome, sir.
Oh, great.
Mr. Deepak Bami, sir, is a senior manager, Cave Gemini Engineering, an expert on web and mobile application development, DevOps, and IBM cloud architecture and development. Deepak, sir, continuously scans the technology, stays ahead of the curve. He is a tech enthusiast and highly passionate in building interesting products and making them ambitious. Extremely positive, smiling, and energetic techie, he is making high impact in all the products he has worked on. I welcome the great visionary to this session. I now request Deepak sir to please enlighten the house. Please, sir.
Deepak, you are mute.
Thank you so much. So let's start with the hot topic, which is technology trends and revolution in the mobile apps. So as we know, like every professor has now said that it's a very uh, genetic or the hot market where everything is coming as a mobile. Even whether you want to purchase anything, whether you want to sell anything, whether you want to go somewhere, you want to use as a transport medium. So mobile app is a solution for that. So today here in this session, we would mostly discussing about the history of mobile apps technologies, how we were and how now we are. So we will discuss, we will see like how the initial mobile phone has established us to use the mobile apps. And then probably we would discuss about some roadmaps which are trending market in the mobile mobility applications, how user can come and develop the application, whether it's a native application, whether it's a hybrid app, we will discuss about it. And then in the next phase, we would be discussing about revolutions with the new drivers. You must have heard that the 5G is coming. So in next couple of years, you must see that the 5G would be taking care of your phone. All the smartphones which are available in the market would go on through, and new 5G simulation would be available in the phone. That kind of revolution would be coming as a new driver for us. And there are interesting frameworks that are very available that will help developers on the engineering students, engineering teams can use those frameworks to do some innovative for the mobile phones. We will discuss about it. And in the last, we will spend some time on upcoming trending market about what are the new areas that are coming for mobile applications, which we can see that or maybe predict that we can use or take the leverage as of now where we are standing. So let's look at the history first. So if I'll take you to 1973, which was very, very quite old in most of the time when there was no mobile phone. Motorola come and says that, hey, I develop a new phone that you can use only with a handset. There is no messages, there is no text messages. Think about the scenario where you can just talk about it and you just send a message. Nobody can receive the message at the same time. You have to wait and receive the call, right? So this kind of era was there. And then 1983, if you look at on the left hand side, Dynatac 8000X was the commercial market cell phone was released with the price of 4,000 nearly dollars. It has no apps. So it was also launched by a Motorola. So coming to the early 90s, when there was a first mobile app was released, which was related to the spreadsheet, where people can go and do some basic computation. They won't be able to allow do the massive filters that we do as of now. They can just do some addition, some subtraction in 90s. That was the initial apps that was released as a spreadsheet and database, where you can do the word processing and you can make your own diaries. That's it. And then suddenly in 1993, we talk about IBM Simon. It's a first touch screen was released in 1993. And then after 1993, 96 is a Palm Garnet operating system that was allowing user to install their third-party application. That was a time that has been a resolution for this industry. And then you must be all aware that the 1998 was the year when the first game was launched on the phone. You must be aware that the Nokia was promoting their phone with a snack game that everyone is used to of it. And at that time, the college students were used to using that particular game, and they must be using the or purchasing the phone because of the game itself. So that was a year where the new Nokia has launched its first game as a snake. And then later point of time, 2002, the BlackBerry has launched with the email version. All the corporate was flooded with BlackBerry phones. They must be using mobile phones with their emails. They started using the modern technologies with modern apps in the BlackBerry. And that was a complete year for the BlackBerry, which steals the market. There was no other phone except Nokia and the BlackBerry. BlackBerry is more commercialized and cooperative world that taking the market for the emails. And then the revolution come up in 2009, the Symbian phone, mobile phone was operating system was released. It has around 250 million gadgets at that time, you know. And then the market started coming from 2017 to 2009 when Apple is coming into the market. Apple has launched its operating system with the name of iOS, which is, a touch-based screen. The first iOS, it's a bulky phone, but it has a touch. You can, touch the screen, you can install the application, but they do not have the App Store. In 2008, they come up with the App Store. It has flooded of applications installed for the users. And again, the competitor is coming. As you are in the market, then there would be a new competitor coming to you. Here the Google was announced their phone as Android. The Android is taking the market in 2008 to 2010. The Android has almost been captured in all the phones, and they started releasing the Play Store with billions of applications, right? So this is how we are progressing, when there is no touch phone, and now we have a touch phone with App Store and Google Play Store flooded of application. That was a year then, the application started coming and rolling out into the phones. So now after 2012, if we look at, the Apple has completely sold up around 6 millions of smartphone application that has been captured by Apple, right? And if you look at the current trend that is coming as a 2014 and 16, the most of the applications are developed through an hybrid world. The hybrid is something, a new technology which is taking into the marketplace, where you don't develop the application not a specific device. You develop the application for bunch of devices, like one for iOS, not for Android. Complete set of package that you are developing for iOS, Android, and web. So that is the market that is coming. We can predict. The Gartner is perform a survey in 2016. They predicted that in upcoming 4 years, the 50% of mobile apps will be hybrid, and this is what we see as of now. You look at any latest application that is coming on the App Store or the Play Store, they are coming as a hybrid app, not at the native app. It has lot of factor involved, lot of enthusiasm is involved, where people are encouraged to develop the application very short period of time. So they are choosing the hybrid world. They are not coming as a native one. So we will look at like how the native looks like and how the hybrid looks like in the upcoming slide. Going to the next slide. Yeah. So here, the mobile apps, can be categorized into two. So one is a native application that you only develop for one particular handset. Like, let's say I want to develop an application. I will choose, I want to develop only for Android, or I want to develop only for iOS. So what I'll do, I'll choose a native version of it. What I'll do, I'll take the software of Android or iOS and then develop the application on that. But let's say I want to say that, I want to develop the application for bunch of phones like, iOS, Android, Windows Phone, or even for the web. I'll choose the mechanism of developing the hybrid solution. I will go for hybrid mobile application. So there are a lot of frameworks are available. Let's say if you choose that you want to develop the native application, then you have Android or iOS or the Windows Phone. However, the Windows phones are not very trendy as of now in the market, but yes, there is an existence in the market. So if you choose that, you want to go with Android, you can choose Java as a prime language, or you can use a new language, which is a Kotlin, which is looks like a JavaScript, but it has a very much potential. So Google itself is announcing Kotlin as their primary language if you want to go with a native development for an Android. But similar way, if you go for iOS, there are two programming language. One is an Objective-C, that's a completely basic C type programming language. But there is another revolution that is coming with the Swift. Again, the Swift is a good competitor for the Kotlin if you look at for the iOS programming language. However, if you choose that, I want to go with a hybrid mobile application, I want to get into a single specific device to be application to be developed, then there are lots of frameworks are coming. So So one is a React Native, that is a new trending framework, and there is a Xamarin. Xamarin is a new framework. However, it's quite old now. The people are mostly coming up with a React Native and the Flutter. These are new frameworks that are available in the market. As a competitor, there are other frameworks are available like the PhoneGap and Iconic, and you can go ahead with a plain JavaScript web app application, and then you can encapsulate that into the phone. So those are major framework. The benefit of this framework is, you don't need to spend one time to creating the application for one specific platform like Android or iOS. You can build with the React Native, you can build the application with a shorter duration of time for multiple devices, like for Android and iOS at the same time. You can develop one application and release it for iOS and Android. Your application will still work. So this is the benefit of the hybrid framework. And now the trends is coming from native to the hybrid world, where the customers or the new generations, the new engineers would like to go to develop the solution that are common to all, not specific to one platform. That's how we call it at hybrid mobile solution. So in the next slide, we will little bit talk about like how the infrastructure looks like, what kind of programming language we use, how deeply we look at, if we look at, on the left hand side, there is a platform specific infrastructure is available. Let's say I want to use that, in the hybrid application, I'm writing the code in HTML, but how would I use the Wi-Fi? Yes, so there is a support that is there. There is a support that is given from the hybrid frameworks to, let's say, turn off your Wi-Fi, to turn off your camera. You can still use that from HTML or the JavaScript code. You can use that. That's the benefit of the hybrid solution. You look at on the right hand side, the hybrid solutions, either you can create with a two flavor. One flavor you can create through only HTML, CSS or JavaScript, or you choose any other frameworks that is available in the market. Flutter is one of the favorite uh, mobile app framework which is available in the market, that people are mostly trending to it. The another competitor to it is the React Native. These are the framework that help us to encapsulate some of the functionality which are provided by the device itself. So you don't need to do a lot of code. You don't need to write long story of code. You can just call the particular API from the Flutter or React Native, and easily do the functionality which you can do it in the native application. That's how the hybrid app. And you can do the same thing for irrespective of the platform, whether it's a iOS or Android. You can do that with some limitation, like the iOS doesn't allows user to to do the Wi-Fi turn on and off through the application, because their flavor is like this. But in Android, everything is open. You can do it from the application. You can turn off. You can ask user to turn off the Wi-Fi. You can turn off. You can look forward for specific RSID. You can connect with that particular RSID. RSID is something, the network which you can connect with. So at Android platform, everything is open, but in Apple, there is some restriction. So you need to bear with it. So this is how the overall hybrid solution application is looking at. The two flavors: simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript. The another one, go with a framework like Flutter, Iconic, on React Native. So you can choose based on your requirement. If you are good with JavaScript, go ahead and use a plain website development and then encapsulate into the mobile. If you are learning or develop your skill into new technologies like Flutter on React Native, then definitely you can choose. And obviously there are few parameters which I have captured in some in upcoming slide. We will discuss about it. Coming to the real solutions, why the people or the big organization are choosing the hybrid apps. So I have captured some of the parameters. One is a economical proposition. As I mentioned that, if you go for a native app, then you need to think that, okay, I need to develop for Android, then I need to develop for iOS, then I need to develop for Windows Phone. So three flavors, you have to spend some time. But if you look at, the hybrid solution, one application will work for all three solutions. So that's the benefit. That's the organization benefit that the people are taking or the teams are taking, that by having a low cost environment, economical solution available with the hybrid solution. The another one is the easy maintenance. You know, if you have a two source code, one for Android, one for iOS, then you need to maintain, right? But if you have a hybrid solution, then you don't need to worry about. You fix one defect in one piece of code, it will work for all the solutions, right? So easy to maintain. The another is the UI adaptability. As we know that, you know, the UI is something where user are interacting with. User experience is holding the people to engage with your application. If your UI is intuitive, then your people would like, your customer would like to use your application frequently. If it is not intuitive, then people might not come to your application again, right? So you need to be with the world, you need to be with the trends which is coming into the market. So you need to adapt the UI again and again. That's a big challenge. If you are using the native approach where, you know, you are developing the UI again and again, it might be a very huge cost for your application. Its maintenance is totally very long. You need to set up a long team, you need to set up two different tracks, iOS, Android, maintaining in a separate way for UI, and talking to the designer for iOS and Android in a different perspective. But if you have a hybrid UI, that you can still do, you have a two different design teams, but you can still be on the single piece of code. You would have a single team who is working on a hybrid solution, would work in a enthusiastic manner, and then, you know, making sure they adapt to the UI, which is as per their trending market, right? So another benefit is a multiple platform. As I mentioned that, you know, if you look at the hybrid, it will definitely going to work for multiple platform support. Quick update, that's another. So if you found that, you know, some new feature is trending to the market, let's say you need to release a new feature, right? If you go one by one for different platform, it would be a huge challenge. But if you look at the hybrid, you can easily do. The real example, the Instagram app, you know, that is completely developed on hybrid solution. You look at the big basket, you look at the Gmail application, you look at the Twitter, you look at the app store itself is developed on a hybrid solution, not on the native platform. So before try, you need to think about whether you are a mobile developer. If you are a mobile developer, definitely you will think that I would like to go with the native. If you are not a mobile developer, you just know the plain HTML or CSS, you can still go with the hybrid app and you can develop your own application. That's the benefit. If you don't know Java, if you don't know Objective-C, if you don't know Kotlin or Swift, you can still develop your application with a hybrid solution. That's the benefit of hybrid apps. So in the next slide, I have captured some of the real examples where you can, you know, and you can think which are daily using applications. One of the best, or, you know, keep on using the application is a Gmail. Everyone is using Gmail in their phone. That is completely developed on hybrid solution. The complete look and feel is developed on HTML or CSS or JavaScript. They don't looks to be a hybrid solution. It looks to be a native app, but it is completely developed with a hybrid framework. That's a benefit. You look at the Instagram app, you know, how the trendings are going, how the pictures are like, completely cloud native solution based on hybrid solution. Even Amazon, it's a big play master, right? They might have a big teams, they might have a big technology, but still they are using the hybrid solution, right? Because they want that their app store to be very intuitive, very exhaustive with the user. They might ask user to come again and again, right? So app store, Amazon app store, which is being used by the Kindle, there are other flavors are available, whether it's a web or whether it's a Kindle version. Everything is developed on hybrid solution. The another, Uber, we use, you know, for the transportation. That is another example of the hybrid solution. Similarly, we have a Twitter, you know, all the government agencies, all corporate, all people or the personal life are being shared on Twitter. That is through the hybrid solution. So they have one solution developed on hybrid for iOS and Android. They are not maintaining two versions of a native application for Twitter. That's the benefit, and this is the big player they are using. That's why the big player are coming into the hybrid solution. These are some of the examples that I have captured to you so that you realize, okay, how the trendings are going on from native to the hybrid solution. Coming I have captured some comparative analysis to give you more depth about it. Like, if you want to rate on some of the parameters, like, what looks like, the hybrid and what looks like on a native. You can see, if you rate the frameworks that are coming to the market, advantage is given on the hybrid app, even if you consider because of their simplicity, because of the scripting language they are using for the hybrid solution. So that's the target platform. So the benefit is given to the hybrid solution. If you look at, the compare the languages, if you compare the code reusability, the hybrid is taking the more lead in that perspective. In the next slide, there are few other parameters, like if you look at the development support, if you look at integration, third-party SDK, there are few categories that are native is taking more control because they are more touchy or they are tightly integrated with the hardware, right? But the hybrid solution sits always on the top of the layer, which is on the application side. They don't go inside the hardware. Again, the hybrid solution, what it will do is you sits on the application, you will give the instruction to the hardware, right? Through proxy of your software development lifecycle. But in native, you still have a control on hardware because you can directly communicate to the hardware because you are sitting in that layer itself. That's some of the benefit. But again, there are few advantages that are coming. That's, if your application not such animated oriented, if it is not a Pokemon type Go, right? Definitely you cannot think of the hybrid solution for that because it requires lot of hardware rendering processing at the same time. If you want to do some animation or the games, then probably I would recommend to use the native apps itself. Don't go for the hybrid if you do not have any kind of animation, or you do not have a right integrated hardware support to be required. That's the benefit of the hybrid solution. So there are few parameters. Time to market, that's a big parameter. Like if you think that your application to be developed very quickly, then the hybrid is a way to go. If you think that your development cost should be economical, it should not be very high because you don't need to set up two teams, you do not have such requirement, and you have a very short team, or maybe you participate in some hackathon, right? You need to develop some solution that has to be go for iOS and Android. Then if you think about native, then it might be your hackathon time will go away, right? Go for hybrid, develop the solution, and crack the challenge. So that's the benefit of the hybrid solution. If you are maintaining your application for a long period of time, right? If you go for, again, native, it would be very hard for you. Go for hybrid solution. So there are few parameters that's, taking the market, trending the developers to engage with them because of these parameters that really help user to keep engaged with the technology that is coming as in development of the mobile apps. Coming to the next trend, before taking the decision, you must ensure that, you must understood what is your requirement, whether you want to go for one platform or you want to support for multiple platforms. You need to think about it, right? Before taking any decision, if you are going to take the hybrid approach, you think about it, the focus UI, your application is a complex in terms of any animation or it's a gaming experience, then probably I will still recommend you to go with a native approach. If you think that, I want my application to be integrated with some vendors, there are few vendors available, like, that's give me some SDKs, I need to integrate that SDK into my application, then again, you need to think that before taking a hybrid approach. If you see that, your efficiency, you are performing some kind of efficiency, real-time experience, you are giving some kind of experience like, the live user experience, then again, you need to think that, that's something that's hardware engagement has to be there with the device or the application. Then again, you need to be very careful while taking the decision. So if you look at the experience, if the user experience is very high, it's your demand, then and you can still devote some time and the cost into the application development, then native is the right approach. But if you say you can still compromise with the user experience, your applications are not very complexity in terms of animations or some kind of gaming experience, and you want to minimize the cost and time to market is very quick, then hybrid is a way, right? You create your application and develop. But if you think that you want your application to be developed for website as well, right, not only the hybrid, then you create your mobile website that can be launched through the URL, through the PWA is another version of the progressive web application that you can develop, and you can launch it for the website and you can still use in the phone itself. So those kind of experiences you can decide based on these factors. I have captured some of the factor before taking any decision whether you want to go for native or the hybrid, because once you develop your application, you ask user to engage with you. If your user is not engaging with you, your application might turn into a failure. Again, if it is a failure, then people might not come to your application. So better you judge based on these parameters how your application to be trending, and then you choose a right way. Coming to the next, revolution drivers, you need to be engaged with some of the drivers into your application, like the augmented reality is one of the factor or the drivers that applications are keep connecting. The Instagram reels, you must have seen that the people are taking the selfies with the audio, right? That is something that is augmented reality. They put the videos with the new kind of reel on Instagram, and it's trending a lot. So what the application owner, what they think is, they think that they are still connected with the augmented reality into the application. If they don't engage with such technology, they will lose the user. They will not come to you. So they keep on enhancing the some kind of technology trends into the application, so that the people are looking at it very carefully, and they keep engaging the user. So those kind of experience only come through if you take the latest version of the technology with you in the application, and then keeps on trending. So one is a real example is a Pokemon Go app that does, if somebody has played that game, it looks like you are playing in a real time scenario. You as a person going in the tracks and in the garden, and then it will looks like you actually doing that same thing. That kind of augmented reality has been helping the user in the application. All the artificial intelligence are bumbled in the Siri and Google Assistant and the Alexa. You must have seen the voice, how they recognize. If you even if you speak very fastly, they can easily recognize that what you are saying, what you are requesting it. So how they are translating it's something coming from the artificial intelligence they have put in the application itself. Now every iPhone if you purchase, or very high cost Android phone if you purchase, everything is given Alexa and Siri inside their phone itself. You don't need to buy any special device as an artificial intelligence for you. So something is coming in the phone itself. And there are few additional applications that are developed based on very large scalability aspect, like the Twitter. Twitter is an application which has a lot of users. They are one celebrity trending to lots of followers, right? So this kind of application has to be think in a perspective of development of rapid scale. Not only in one country, lots of country are using at the same time. So they develop the application through kind of a cloud solution. They develop on the cloud, and they have a business logic written on the cloud, and they are using the application as a client to interact with the actual business which is there trending on the cloud. So these kind of application, we call it as a cloud based mobile apps. Real example, Google search if you do, or Twitter, or the YouTube app. The YouTube is where people are posting their videos and they are trending, they are liking. So everything has been bundled in kind of a cloud infrastructure. So another trending technology which is coming in the wearable devices, like the healthcare, the fitness band that is coming, Fitbit, Apple Watch, everything is coming. That these are the new technology which is benefit the application. So application development perspective, or the whosoever is a manufacturer for the handset, would be taking care of their application. So they used to develop their application so that they can connect it together, and they can monitor what kind of health, and they perform some kind of intelligence. Let's say if you walk for 1 kilometer for on a daily basis, they will, give you some suggestion. If you go beyond 1 kilometer, you will reduce this much of calorie. So this is something from coming from as a artificial intelligence. That's how the market is coming. And similarly, the IoT devices, the most of the smart cities, whether it's electricity, whether it's a water bill, are being equipped with the devices, and their application is given to the phone. They can connect to the IoT devices, and then they can do the payments. You don't need to go on specific office to submit or clear their bills for electricity. They can easily do through a recharge, like as you go to recharge your prepaid for Airtel or Vodafone. The same thing you can do it for your electricity in your society. This is how the benefit of the IoT that is coming into the smart devices. You must have seen the another example. That's a very big example. Every day, Bharat Pay, they have just created the QR code. Just created a QR code. You just need to scan it and does the payment automatically. You just need to scan it and does, whether it's a Paytm, whether it's a Google Pay, they have just one QR code. That's the benefit of the new technology they are trending. You just need to scan. What they have done is, on the QR code, they have connected with your bank. They understand that how the payment is coming. So they connect with the merchant and does the payment. That's how the similar experience they are trending into the market, and that's the benefit we are now. And in upcoming days, it is very well said by the professor as well, that we might predict that the button is coming with your phone, and you just need to touch, and then your application will be doing the same thing what you need. You just need to think about it, right? So those kind of new technologies and the trends are available in the market. You can experience it, and you can develop in your application to make it successful. If you are engaged with these technologies, then definitely your application is going to be successful for upcoming long term. So in the end, I would like to touch base on some of the future aspect that is coming into the market. So one of the biggest trend that is there is a 5G, right? Everyone is evolution coming kind of want to take an experience, because the 5G is a transmission where the traffic would go with very high speed, right? And if you are going to be engaged with the application, then it's a right time to pick up such solution that can engage the 5G solution. And you can also think that, the edge computing, you can make your application as a web progress. You develop for the website, and at the same time you are supporting for the mobile version. So if you are making your application in that trend, then I hope your application will go farther way. The m-commerce, the mobile commerce, every purchasing or every selling is going through the mobile. So Amazon, Flipkart, everything is going. If you have, you tie up with any shopping center and you develop the application, and you allow users to do the m-commerce, then again it's a good trending. That's taking the market, because the COVID-19, the pandemic has begun. We must have learned, the contactless everything, right? So people are shopping everything on phone. The demand on the sales in the pandemic is huge on the phone, instead of people are going to the malls and doing the shopping, right? So that we understood that, the m-commerce is something, a new market that is coming as a big priority, taking a big advantage on the phone, on the application. If you have some kind of ideas to develop, then m-commerce is one of the domain that you can pick up. Similarly, we talk about the artificial intelligence and the bots. Arogya Setu app is a very good example. We have the bots developed by the government of India. They have a bot. They will ask you whether you're having any COVID-19 symptom or not. That's the benefit of the application that the bot has given us. They will just check. They will just throw a number of series of questions to you. You just answer, and they will detect whether you are a positive or not, right? And they also have some kind of experience, artificial intelligence experience, where you can just connect with the Bluetooth, and then you track it whether you are very nearby a person which has the similar symptom, then they try to predict you that you are a COVID-19 symptom or not, because they want to quarantine for a particular period, right? So those kind of experiences and the artificial intelligence has been indulged into the application so that the people are engaged, and it is very useful for them to understand like how they are trending to the market. Coming to the predictive analytics, that is something, a new area that is coming. uh, I try to capture some of the listing here, like how the upcoming trends is coming for the mobile application, cross platform application, like we talk about huge on the hybrid apps, and the low code development. The people, again, the teams or the owner of the customer, they always say that we need an application which is low in cost, right? But I want the application to be trending in the market, right? So those kind of solution are available with the hybrid solution. So if you look at, I have captured some of the analytics that in 2019 alone, 196 billion or 42 billion mobile app would be downloaded from the Google Play and App Store, right? That's a huge revenue for Apple and Google, and the vendors they are using it. The another pandemic, like the pandemic has gulged into the internet 89 to 2% of the mobile time spent by the mobile apps. The people are spending their time on the mobile, only for scrolling the application, looking at and purchasing something on the mobile phone. There are few good examples, how the consumers are using their phone in shopping related. You can see that 61% compared prices in the app store on their phone. And similarly, if you look at the 63% of use coupons are in app store for the purchases. They have given a huge discounts to if you do the shopping on the phone itself. So those kind of leverages are coming into the m-commerce business. Similarly, if we look at the proximity center, the beacons, the 3.9 billions out of 5.5 million proximity center are deployed across the globally, are the beacons, right? So these kind of beacons technologies are being engaged to mobile applications to be engaged with the user. And the wearable devices, if you look at the how the millions of user and the revenues is coming during the pandemic time, it's a huge impact, and this is what the prediction is. Until 2024, the revenue is going to be almost the same or maybe beyond that. That's the prediction. For by 2024, if global consumer retail spend via chatbot will reach out $142 billion. That's a huge amount only with the chatbot. No user has been required, only the artificial intelligence and the edge computing application through the cloud been capturing the complete market. If we look at the progressive web apps, where no solution for native, 20% of the user would be expensively spending the mobile apps through the web progressive web app instead app, right? So those kind of future trends that I can see, that I try to capture here for you, so that it would be a good motivation to to develop the application through such solution. And keep in mind, like, what are the new technologies and the trends that you can choose one of the best domain for you, so that your application would be a successful in the upcoming market. And definitely I'm sure that this kind of webinar would definitely help in enthusiasm or making the engineers or the development or the higher leaders to make sure that they have the right domains to set up, and they can make their own strategies in such a manner so that it is absolutely on the right path. So that's overall I have for today for trending. Any many maybe I would like to understand any questions do you have as of now?
Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightening deliberation. I am sure that this insightful session would have enlightened the participants about the real life applications of mobile and the technology. So I'll be taking up the questions with your permission. May I, sir?
Sure.
One of the question is from a user's perspective, What is the difference, if any, they see between native or hybrid solutions?
Okay. So from the user perspective, there is no difference. The user won't be able to understand, whether it's an application. If you look at the Uber solution, they don't see any hybrid. They don't see whether it's a native solution or the hybrid. It would look like it's a mobile phone, it's a mobile application running on a phone. You can use for your purpose. You can use it for making a request for a taxi, call a taxi, and use it. You don't care. The developers, engineer has to care about like how the customers are engaged with your application, how the new market coming to the market, your application making it minimize. That makes the difference. Like you have an idea for the answer to your question. Let's say you have an idea and you want that idea to be published in another 2 or 3 months, right? If you go for native approach, you have to develop the solution for native, for Android, for iOS. It will take a long period of time. But if you go for hybrid, it might be the case that you might be able to develop both the solution in given timelines, 1 or 2 months, right? So this is how the difference makes for the developer on the engineering teams while they are implementing. For end user, for the customer, there it hardly any difference whether they go for hybrid or native approach. Even they don't know about it.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Another question which I would like to take on is, while mobile device has become a key part of our life, how do you foresee the security challenges and what mobile app developers are doing to take care of the same?
Absolutely. It's a very great question, I think. The security is one of the aspect that user or the engineer has to think about it. Even there are few fraud calls coming to the phone to hack your application. You need to be very careful as a one from the user perspective. The another is from the engineering perspective. Engineering perspective is definitely before putting into the app store, there is a specific best practices. There are a few guidelines available for making sure that your application is secure. And as a user perspective, you need to ensure that you are not sharing your application content or your personal data with the application until unless it has been acquired or until unless it has been authorized to share it, right? If you are sharing something, your data, your personal data with the application, it might be the case that they might fraud you. They might sell your data to the next level application, and then those application would be using your data. So again, it's a user responsibility. At the same time, from the engineering perspective, there are few guidelines available while they are developing the solution. And the solution that is developed on iOS and Android, the platform itself provide lot of security enhancement, so that you are engaged into a shell. It has been covered by the security concepts. So don't worry about it too much about while you are developing the solution.
So one more question I would like to take on is, do mobile services reduces our self-efficacy by forcing us to see the content they select rather than what we select?
Uh, yeah. So that's a kind of artificial intelligence or the recommendation engines they does. Like if you go to the Facebook, or you'd go on the Google search and you look at some clothes, right? The same thing would be coming on your Facebook after some time. That's the benefit of the artificial intelligence. And then that's help user. Okay, if they are just thinking in that manner, they might go for a purchase. you know that's how the recommendation engine or the user preferences are going through. And definitely, if you are making some solution, you can always use the such kind of artificial intelligence to understand what the user is thinking, what kind of selection they might give you to increase your purchase, right? So if you are buying a new phone, uh, you can always think from the user, use what kind of phone they might be thinking, whether they are going for Android or whether they are going for an iOS, right? Those kind of artificial intelligence thinking you can make from the user preferences or their research, right? So that's the benefit of the technology, that you can make into your application and then make the successful deal for the user, which is the best fit for the user. That helps for you making a revenue high. At the same time, user is also happy because they got a good deal.
Thank you for I would now like to educate Karna.
So thank you so much, Mr. Deepak. It has been a wonderful session in which you have so nicely sensitized us that how the hybrid platforms are going to change the life of the developer. And on the other hand, the artificially intelligent mobile computing technologies are going to give more and more benefits to the user. So thank you so much. I am sure this will be of immense use. In fact, after we started program, I traveled from my office to home and just reached home. So thank you so much. That is also the beauty of the mobile technologies, and attended your entire lecture while traveling on my mobile. And this certificate is not for certification, rather for the purpose of the remembrance that you have been part of this wonderful and lovely webinar, and we'll meet once again with some another topic in future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would
Thank
now
you.
like to present an e-memento to Mr. Deepak Bami, sir, as a gratitude from BVI Camp family. We are honored to have you, sir. Thank you for your gracious presence.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was a
memento. Thank
nice
you so
opportunity
much.
with everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Ajay. Thank you, professors. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ayushi.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll meet again.
Yeah, definitely.